What's happening in Syria is being painted as a victory for freedom, but the truth is far more complex. The myth of Syria's liberation from tyranny is one of the most dangerous misconceptions of our time. While many believe that the fall of Bashar al-Assad marked a victory for the people, the truth is far darker. What if Syria's collapse wasn't the result of a revolution, but rather a carefully orchestrated dismantling by foreign powers, each with its own agenda? What if the so-called freedom came at the cost of the country's sovereignty, leaving it fractured and vulnerable to forces far more sinister than the regime it once fought to overthrow? Years after the first NATO-led war on Syria that aimed at removing Bashar al-Assad's government, Damascus has fallen into the hands of CIA-backed armed opposition forces. This isn't just a Syrian crisis, it's a regional earthquake. This came in the wake of Israel's mounting losses in Lebanon, forcing a ceasefire and shifting attention to Syria. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu didn't hold back, boasting that these events are changing the Middle East. After threatening Bashar al-Assad, claiming that he was playing with fire, the world witnessed a NATO-backed assault led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS, a group with roots in al-Qaeda. The offensive was swift and devastating. HTS forces overran major Syrian cities in record time with very little opposition. But this wasn't just about military strength. Years of corruption, repression, and failed reforms had left Syria's military and state institutions brittle and unprepared. With an army devoid of any spirit to resist the opposition forces, Syria was left defenseless against the HTS onslaught. While Assad's departure might seem like the end of the story, it's just the beginning of a new nightmare. Damascus is now under the control of armed factions under the American strategy. Syria now represents a failed state, similar to Libya, with America, Turkey, Israel, and other entities vying for influence to advance their ambitions. Chaos reigns with looting, sectarian violence, and the rise of extremist ideologies threatening to tear the country further apart, despite hollow calls for unity and secular governance. And Israel, of course, is taking full advantage. In a mere 48-hour window following the end of President Assad's rule, the Israeli Air Force carried out a staggering 350 airstrikes across Syria. They also seized additional territory in the Golan Heights, including areas once protected by a buffer zone. Netanyahu declared with brazen arrogance, the Golan Heights will forever be an inseparable part of the State of Israel. And Turkey? Their official line is denial. But whispers of prior knowledge about the HTS offensive suggests deeper involvement. Turkey's actions, it seems, align with its broader NATO-backed strategy during the first Arab Spring that sought to topple Assad, a strategy heavily supported by Western intelligence and resources. The collapse of Syria conveniently paves the way for projects like Qatar-Turkey gas pipeline, a venture that could dramatically shift Europe's energy dynamics while sidelining Syria and its allies. The stakes couldn't be higher. Syria's collapse could redefine the regional balance of power. While the resistance axis is no longer in the previous form with Syria gone, it may adapt its strategy to unconventional forms of resistance to expand its fronts.